The View co-host Sunny Hostin's husband, Emmanuel Hostin, has been accused of federal insurance fraud.
Sunny Hostin, her husband accused of committing federal insurance fraud in a lawsuit.
All right, buckle up because this story is packed with twists, turns, and a dose of irony you couldn't script if you tried. If you've been keeping up with the never-ending drama surrounding The View and its co-hosts, you know they're no strangers to controversy. But this time, oh this time, the spotlight isn't just on Sunny Hostin's fiery opinions or her on-air clashes. No, Sunny is now at the center of a storm of her own making, and everyone is talking about it.
Today's video comes to us from Hostin.
All right, buckle up because this story is packed with twists, turns, and a dose of irony you couldn't script if you tried. If you've been keeping up with the never-ending drama surrounding The View and its co-hosts, you know they're no strangers to controversy. But this time, oh this time, the spotlight isn't just on Sunny Hostin's fiery opinions or her on-air clashes. No, Sunny is now at the center of a storm of her own making, and everyone is talking about it.
So how are you
Everywhere. Sunny Hostin, who built her reputation as a moral compass, calling out injustices and holding others accountable for their past, just found herself caught in one of the most ironic twists imaginable. It turns out that Sunny's own ancestors were slave owners. Yeah, you heard that right. The very system she's passionately condemned is a part of her own family history. And you better believe Greg Gutfeld had a field day with this one. If you know Gutfeld, you know he doesn't hold back, especially when it comes to The View and its co-hosts. During a segment on his show, he dove right into the hypocrisy, pointing out that Sunny, who has spent years demanding accountability from others, seemed surprisingly quiet when it came to her own family's past. With his signature smirk, Gutfeld quipped, "If you're going to shame others for their ancestors' actions, you'd better be ready to take a long, hard look in the mirror." The audience erupted in laughter, and the internet. It went absolutely wild. Social media exploded with memes, jokes, and sharp commentary. One viral post summed it up perfectly. So, does Sunny owe herself reparations now? The irony was just too thick for people to ignore. And for someone like Sunny, who never hesitates to make bold statements, this revelation hit like a ton of bricks.
You're right. Anytime she says something stupid, I'm gonna go, slave owner!
But what made it worse, oh yes, it gets worse, was Sunny's reaction. Instead of addressing it head on, she brushed it off like it was no big deal, casually calling it just a fact of life. As if that was supposed to make it all go away, and that, my friends, is where she lost a lot of people. For someone who has built a career on demanding accountability from others, this dismissive response felt like a slap in the face. Had she taken this as an opportunity to reflect, maybe even acknowledge that history is messy and complicated for everyone, things might have played out differently. But nope, she sidestepped it entirely, and the backlash came roaring in.
Emmanuel denied the allegations via a statement through his lawyer, telling Daily Mail that his client, quote, denies each and every allegation and that the lawsuit is a blanket, scattershot, meritless lawsuit.
But wait, there's more. While Sunny was busy dodging questions about her own hypocrisy, another storm was brewing, one that had nothing to do with her ancestry and everything to do with her husband. Drew Emmanuel Hostin, a respected orthopedic surgeon, is now tangled up in a legal mess that's almost too wild to believe. We're talking about one of the biggest lawsuits ever filed in New York, packed with allegations of insurance fraud and illegal kickbacks. And yes, doctor, Hostin is right in the thick of it. Here's the gist of the lawsuit. Drew is accused of performing unnecessary surgeries and billing insurance companies for them, all while allegedly accepting under-the-table payments disguised as dividends. And it doesn't stop there. The lawsuit claims these weren't just unnecessary procedures, but part of a massive scheme designed to exploit the healthcare system. Imagine trusting your doctor only to find out you were just a pawn in a money-making operation. That's the picture being painted here, and it's not a pretty one.
And it's a very serious crime. In fact, it's one of the largest, if not the largest, RICO case in New York's history.
The numbers involved are absolutely staggering. We're talking hundreds of millions in fraud claims. Dr. Hostin, along with nearly 200 other defendants, has been named in the case. And because this lawsuit is being pursued under the RICO Act, a law originally designed to take down organized crime, the stakes couldn't be higher. If found guilty, the financial penalties alone could be astronomical, not to mention the devastating reputational damage. What's even more shocking, this isn't the first time. One to sense. American Transit and the insurance company at the center of it all has been accused of shady dealings. In fact, the company has faced legal challenges of its own, including a lawsuit from Sheer earlier this year, alleging a pattern of unfairly handling claims. Sunny herself has pointed to this history, arguing that the lawsuit against her husband is nothing more than a smear campaign, a tactic meant to deflect attention from American Transit's own questionable practices. But whether this is a valid defense or just an attempt to shift the narrative, that's something only the courts will decide.
It does.
Legal experts are weighing in, and opinions are divided on how this case could unfold. Some argue that RICO lawsuits as of this magnitude are notoriously difficult to prove, requiring an overwhelming amount of evidence to connect the defendants. Others, however, believe that the sheer scope of the allegations, nearly 700 pages of claims, and makes it unlikely that everyone involved will walk away unscathed. For Dr. Hostin. Even if he isn't found guilty, the reputational damage alone could be devastating for his medical practice, not to mention the strain this places on his family. And the timing couldn't be worse. With Sunny already under fire for her ancestral history, the added weight of her husband's legal troubles is a 1-2 punch that could tarnish her public image for years to come. Critics have been quick to point out the glaring contradiction. This case undermines the very foundation of Sunny's platform, calling out corruption and demanding accountability. After all, how can someone preach integrity on national television while facing serious questions about their own household? It's a messy situation, and the ripple effects are just beginning. He was company behind it of trying to shift blame for its own failures. This is nothing more than a near-bankrupt insurance carrier lashing out to avoid paying its bills. Fights declared, but let's be real. When you're facing accusations this serious, no amount of legal spin can make the controversy disappear. And here's the kicker. Sunny Hostin, who has built her career on demanding and transparency and accountability, has been noticeably silent about the whole thing. Sure, she's issued a few vague statements defending her husband, but where's the fire? Where's the passion she brings to every other issue? For someone who never hesitates to call out wrongdoing, her reluctance to address this head-on is raising a lot of eyebrows.
Of Sunny Hostin on The View, Tom, basically implicating her husband in this type of a scheme.
Sunny Hostin is at a crossroads. Will she confront the controversy head-on or simply wait for it to blow over? Either way, her credibility has taken a serious hit. As for Dr. Hostin, his legal troubles are far from over. The RICO lawsuit is just getting started, and the fallout could be massive.
But it's just, I mean, you're married, Tom, you're married. If your husband's doing something, if he's allegedly doing something like this, you guys would know if your wives were up to.
But let's leave you with a question. This story is far from over. Is Sunny's silence on her ancestry and her husband's legal troubles a sign of guilt, or is she simply protecting her family? And when it comes to The View, is it time for the show to finally face its own accountability? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest celebrity scandals. See you next time.